This story is set 15 years ago, when a massive solar flare from the sun destroyed the ozone layer. As a result, Earth's balance was completely disrupted, and the sun's dangerous ultraviolet rays raised the temperature to 66 degrees Celsius, wiping out most humans, plants, and animals. We then see a man wearing protective gear, wandering through a dusty storm, possibly searching for food. His wrist device warns him of high radiation levels. He enters a closed store with his dog-like robot, finds a human corpse but ignores it, and sees the store has already been looted. Still, he finds a few packets of dog food and says, "Looks like someone's going to be very happy today." He marks the wall, indicating he's been there before, then drives his truck towards the city, carelessly bumping into abandoned cars along the way. Suddenly, his device beeps again, warning of a massive dust storm approaching fast. He quickly turns around and heads to his shelter, reaching just in time. This man is Finch, a former engineer at a robotics company, now living in the old factory with his dog and a helper robot. He scans important books in his lab as he is building a humanoid robot to care for his dog after he dies from a serious illness. One day, the robot finally speaks, and Finch joyfully tells his dog, "Congratulations, you've got a new friend." He questions the robot, who recites 4 rules, the last one being that if Finch is not around, the robot will care for the dog no matter what. Suddenly, a power outage occurs, and as Finch fixes it on the roof, he sees a massive storm approaching. He connects the robot to a weather station, which reveals the storm will hit within 24 hours and last 40 days. Realizing they won't survive if they stay, Finch decides to head west towards San Francisco, hoping to find food and shelter. As his health worsens, he only manages to upload 72% of the knowledge into the robot, meaning it still needs to learn. He teaches it to walk, and they gather supplies and set off in a specially modified van that protects them from heat and radiation. During their journey, the robot, observing empty cities, asks where everyone is. Finch replies, "That's a long story, I'll tell you someday." Stopping at a safe spot, he tells the robot there's still much to learn. They find popcorn in an old theater, which pops from the heat, showing how hot it is outside. Another huge storm approaches. Finch secures the van with cables. Though the van nearly lifts off in the storm, they survive. Afterward, a tire is damaged, but the robot helps by lifting the van with one hand so Finch can replace it. Impressed, Finch names the robot Jeff. That night, he teaches Jeff more things. The next morning, as the sun rises and solar panels open, Finch sees Jeff mimicking the dog. Finch says, "Don't make so much noise in the morning," to which Jeff replies, "I think the dog doesn't like me." Finch, feeling increasingly ill, stops the van in front of a restaurant and tells Jeff to stay behind and keep an eye on the van while he rests. Inside, Finch starts coughing severely, and blood starts to pour from his mouth. Hearing the noise, the dog robot approaches him. Meanwhile, Jeff, left alone in the van, suddenly becomes alert and jumps into the driver's seat, trying to drive. When Finch sees the van moving outside, he rushes out and finds that Jeff has crashed into another vehicle. Since Finch can't go out in the sun without his UV suit, he stays where he is and asks Jeff to bring it to him so he can reach the van. However, Jeff doesn't understand and crashes again, frustrating Finch. Finch, angry, pulls Jeff close and, as he extends his hand into the sunlight, his skin starts to burn. He tells Jeff it's time to grow up, as he created him to take care of the dog, who, like him, cannot survive in the sun. Finch then begins teaching Jeff how to drive. Jeff learns quickly, and Finch is pleased. That night, they stop by a campfire, and Finch reminisces about the past, explaining why they can't travel at night due to dangerous people who attack others after dark. The next morning, Finch's condition worsens. Jeff drives the van to a deserted city looking for supplies. Finch wakes up to find his robots missing and quickly puts on his suit to search for them. He finds the smaller robot trapped in a deadly trap and deactivates it. Soon, Jeff returns with medical supplies, and Finch scolds him for going to such a dangerous place. They flee the building and drive away, realizing they are being followed. In a panic, Finch drives the van off the highway, but it gets stuck under a bridge, breaking the solar panels. Finch becomes discouraged, thinking they'll never reach San Francisco. Jeff encourages him not to give up, and Finch shares a story from the past about how, during the solar flare, he saw a little girl and her mother killed by a man trying to steal their food. Finch found a puppy in the girl's bag, but he was too scared to help. Hearing this, Jeff goes quiet, and the next morning they resume their journey. As they travel, Jeff reads postcards Finch's father had sent him. Suddenly, a butterfly hits the van's window, and when Jeff tells Finch, he steps outside to find that the deadly sunlight is no longer an issue. Finch steps out in joy, realizing that they've finally made it to a safe place. Finch and Jeff quickly escape in the van, but just then another car engine starts, suggesting someone saw them. For safety, Finch grabs his weapon and keeps driving. As night falls, he notices a car following them in the side mirror. To shake it off, Finch drives the van off the highway, but in a panic, he tries to pass under a bridge, and the van gets stuck due to its height, breaking the solar panels on top. Finch becomes terrified, his hands shaking. Jeff gets out and pushes the van under the bridge to hide it. When the pursuers arrive, they don't see the van and drive away. Finch comes out and sees the broken panels, becoming deeply saddened. He tells Jeff they might never reach San Francisco. Jeff encourages him not to give up and says he believes in him, assuring him they'll make it to the Golden Gate Bridge. Then Finch shares a story from the time after the deadly solar flare hit Earth. He had gone to a mall looking for food, but everything was looted. By chance, he found a packet of noodles. Just then, a 9-year-old girl and her mother arrived, carrying food, and the girl had a gun. He hid in fear. A man drove in and tried to steal their food. When they refused, he shot and killed them both. When Finch approached them, he heard a sound from the girl's backpack. Inside was a tiny puppy. He reflects on how hunger turned people into monsters and how he, being a coward, just watched it all. Jeff goes quiet after hearing this. The next morning, they resume their journey. Along the way, Jeff reads postcards sent to Finch by his father. Suddenly, a butterfly hits the van's window, and when Jeff tells Finch, he is shocked. Finch cautiously extends his hand outside the van and feels no harmful sunlight. Stepping outside, he is overjoyed as if given a new life. A butterfly even lands on his hand, confirming the place is safe. Finch dresses in his best clothes, sets up a tent under the open sky, eats and enjoys the moment. Jeff then reveals he knows Finch lied, saying the Golden Gate postcard was from an uncle, while it actually said Dad on the back. Finch explains his father was in the army, building bridges, but left before he was born, and they never met. On his 15th birthday, he received that postcard, saying his father would meet him at the Golden Gate Bridge. Wanting to impress him, Finch had bought the suit, but the meeting never happened. He kept all the postcards because he wanted to travel the world and visit that bridge one day. Finch had always wanted to see the beauty of the Golden Gate Bridge in person, but he never got the chance. He reflects on how strange humans are. We waste opportunities when we have the time. Hearing this, Jeff says it's okay, and they can still go there together, but Finch replies that his time has come. He makes Jeff promise to take good care of the dog after he's gone. Jeff nods in agreement. Finch then starts playing with the dog and invites Jeff to join, but the dog still doesn't trust Jeff and keeps bringing the ball back, only to Finch. Smiling, Finch says it's okay and that soon they'll become good friends. Suddenly, Finch coughs up blood and his condition worsens. Realizing his end is near, he shakes hands with Jeff, who becomes emotional and hugs him. It's a deeply emotional moment for Finch, who quietly retreats into the van to rest, wanting to spend his final moments with his dog. He lovingly strokes him and slowly says goodbye to the world. Outside, Jeff is gathering supplies when he hears the dog crying and understands that Finch has passed away. Jeff performs Finch's funeral right there. The next morning, he notices Goodyear, the dog, is very sad. Jeff feeds him just as Finch had taught and then plays fetch with him. Over time, Jeff and Goodyear grow close. Jeff then sets off toward San Francisco. After nearly 18 hours, they finally reach the Golden Gate Bridge. Though Finch wasn't there, despite always dreaming of it, Jeff and Goodyear stand on the bridge, admiring its beauty. In Finch's memory, Jeff sticks the postcard on the bridge that has a sketch of all three of them. Just then, he spots another note nearby with a girl's name, an address, and a message saying, "We are safe. If anyone reads this, come find us at this address." Jeff then sets out with Goodyear to find that place, hoping to join other survivors and start a new life. And with that, the movie ends.